Welcome to episode 43 of the Self-Care 101 podcast, helping creative entrepreneurs crush overwhelm, stay focused and live better, with your host, Puja K. McClymont. Thank you so much for listening today. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about comparison, specifically comparing yourself to others on social media. How can you focus on your own progress when there is so much noise around you? While social media is an incredible addition to our society, it unfortunately didn't come with a health warning like on cigarettes or alcohol, but it's probably just as addictive and just as destructive. I guess this is a conversation about mental health and well-being. It's almost as if it's okay to die from fags and alcohol because they manifest as physical disease, which we're used to. However, mental well-being can take its toll much quicker, leading to suicide. So that's the worst case scenario, but an extremely real scenario. Managing your consumption of social media, and especially that of comparison, it's something not only beneficial for you to learn, but for you to also teach others, especially children and young people. You are therefore the social media warning label. Living in a world of ratings is going to be ridiculous over time. I mean, there's a show on Netflix called Black Mirror, and they do a whole show like parallel universe of everything based on ratings. This is not healthy. That's not real. That's not real human connection and what we need. This need for instant gratification is not serving us well. Because when we realize that we can't get the results that we need instantly, we feel like we failed. And if we feel like we failed, we feed our negative thoughts, our negative self-belief. And what does that result in? Nothing good, nothing good. So let's get to it. Why do you compare yourself to other people? Why do we do this? We all do it. It is something that we all do, whether you're comparing yourself in your work, in your physical body, the way you look, the way you talk. We compare ourselves. It's just something that we do. Now, usually this comparison or need for comparison in terms of feeling like every time you look at something, you can't disassociate from it without feeding your negative thoughts. These are caused from limited beliefs that they've been with you for a long time, and these are generally related to your worth as a young person. So when you are young, potentially somebody has said something to you or you've experienced something and it has stuck. You weren't equipped with the tools to process that in a way that separated yourself from that judgment. And then that feeds into your negative thought patterns, which stick with you for life until you recognize them and you work through them through things like counseling and coaching. Now, comparing yourself to others, you know this is unhealthy. You as an adult know that this is not something you should be doing. You know this. But as human beings, if we are down about something, anything in our day, anything that happens that pushes us to the point of, oh, I feel rubbish, and you go onto social media to distract yourself from those feelings, which is something that very naturally we do, especially during the pandemic. We've been doing that even more so before. And you are seeing content that has been curated for you. It has been curated based on your internet behavior. So if you're someone who is always Googling things like, how do I stop comparing myself to others? How do I stop being a perfectionist? How do I have a healthy, positive mindset? Then what you're going to see through social media are things that feed those thoughts. And this is just psychologically so unhealthy, because this is taking customer buying behavior to a whole nother level. In marketing, we talk about the buying behavior as it's a psychology. So how people buy, how people purchase, what their motivations are, what makes somebody click on an advert and actually make the purchase. All of that, when we did it in marketing years before social media, there was a way of doing it, and it was a little bit easier because you only had certain touch points that you could use, like billboards or television adverts or radio. There wasn't the amount of channels that we have today, like podcasts and blogs and websites and radio and everything else. Now, I'm not saying that the advertising was good, because obviously this is coming from an era of making smoking fashionable and all the rest of it, and diets, the diet industry in general. But what that has done in today's society is that anything you search for on the internet becomes a targetable advert. As a marketer, that's obviously a great thing. But for you as a consumer of social media, you've also got to be mindful and be aware of this. You are going to see more of what you search for. So if you're going to search for negative things, you're going to see more of that. If you're going to search for things like candles, you're going to see more of that. So be mindful about what you're searching for on the internet, because when you hop onto social media, you're going to be fed more of that. And also, the algorithm within social media platforms will also be showing you more of the content that you engage with. And that content, if it's not positive, is going to have a negative effect on you. And you're going to be almost like surrounded by facts that back up your negative thought pattern. These aren't facts, let me tell you. These aren't facts. These are literal marketing experts, advertising experts feeding into your buying persona. So be aware of that. There's a little secret for you if it's new to you, but this is what marketers are doing. So be aware of that. Be aware of, if you're feeling down, if you're Googling things like that, you're going to see more of it when you go onto social media. And if you feel down, you're going to feed more of that negative self-talk by seeing what you see. Now, one of the easiest things to do is to manage your time on social media, being mindful of how much time you spend on social media, what you're doing and when you're doing it. When social media essentially was created, it was created for us to connect with other people. When Facebook was the major platform, the major social media platform, it was an amazing way of connecting to people that you didn't see very often. If people, family, friends were abroad, you could connect with them. And that in essence was beautiful, because it spoke to community. Now, I know Facebook is still very much trying to drive its values through community, but it's very different now. It's a very aggressive place to be in. It's very ad led, and obviously the whole Cambridge Analytica stuff is with privacy issues. It's created a different place. It's created a different platform to be in, knowing that what you're going to see is going to be based on the last thing you searched for. That's pretty powerful to know. So one of the things that I suggest to everybody is to switch your notifications off. Literally just switch them off. The moment you can do that, the moment you are in control of your consumption, because it's easy to get distracted by a ping here and a ping there, and there's no need for it. There really isn't. Schedule time to spend on social media. Choose when you are going to have a look on social media. And you know what? Take it a step further. Why are you going onto social media? Are you going onto social media for vanity? Are you going on there to see if anybody liked the last post you put up? Are you going onto social media to feed your negative self-talk? Sometimes you can consciously do that, because if you want to feed your negative self-talk, you will put up posts that are woe is me, attention-seeking posts. You're going to get likes on it, you're going to get comments on it, but are you actually going to get real help from them? When somebody puts up a post and it's quite deep, and they are somebody that I know, I will contact them directly. I don't like the post. I don't comment on the post itself. I will actually go to my phone and text them and say, babe, are you okay? Because sometimes we use these platforms to get attention, and not necessarily attention seeking in a negative way. I know that some of you might have thought that came across quite insensitive, but we do put up attention-seeking posts, and you've got to be mindful of what you're putting up, because it's not just about you. You can be harming other people by what you're putting up. So be aware of what you post and why you're going onto social media in the first place. Because if you think social media is going to solve your problems, sweetheart, it's not. I'll tell you straight, it's not. If anything, it's going to make your problems worse. Human connection, real help, counseling, therapy, coaching, all of that is going to help you. Remove your apps. Something I suggest to people who work in the online space, people who've got online magazines and stuff like that, I say actually remove your apps from your phone, keep them on your laptop, because the laptop is a conscious thought process. You've got to physically go to your laptop, physically open it, put your password in and launch the platforms. Whereas on your phone, it's right there. You can check it. It pings, you go to it. So dependent on how, I guess, how addicted you are to social media, maybe remove the apps from your phone and only have them on your laptop. This is something very good if you work if you work if you work somewhere where you're not in an office-based job. Removing the apps from your phone is a really great way to stay focused in your job role. And to be honest, you could do this in an office-based role as well. I think it totally applies there too. But if you find that when you have a break from work, so you might get 5-minute, 10-minute break here and there in between shifts, you may go to the phone to check social media. Sometimes I've even known people to check social media before they check on their kids or their partner. Listen to that again. People check social media before they check on their partners and their kids or their family. People that are supposed to matter to them. That is crazy. That is ridiculous. That is beyond unhealthy. I feel like I'm getting very much into my straight talking coach zone today. But I am very passionate about this because social media, whilst it has some wonderful benefits, you've got to know how to use it. You can't just keep consuming it and thinking that it's perfectly okay. It needs a warning label. We know people that have committed suicide as a result of the media and what they're experiencing and the trolling and all the rest of it. You've seen it with celebrities. It happens to kids. So many young people. Watch 13 Reasons on Netflix. It's all there. It's all so negative. It's so aggressive because we don't have the warning label. We don't know how to consume social media. We've got to learn how to consume social media. Otherwise, we are just accepting our demise. As a human race, we are accepting our demise. And then the last thing I would suggest you do is schedule time. Schedule time to go onto social media. Once you know why you go onto social media, check when you should. So choose a time after you've connected with the people that are important in your life, after you have looked after yourself. Then maybe slot in half an hour and stick to half an hour. If it's easier for you in the beginning, put a timer on. So literally put a stopwatch onto your phone to say that you're only going to be on here for half an hour, and then let that alarm go off in half an hour and then stop. Okay, just get out. Get out and do something else. Preferably something that doesn't involve technology, but obviously we work, and right now a lot of us are in the online space because we have to be for work. Do what you can to step away, even if that means a 5-minute shake it off. Going for a walk, just give that a go. Clear your mind, separate yourself from those thoughts, because those thoughts are only going to feed your insecurities, feed any imposter syndrome that you're feeling, feed any self-esteem issues that you have. And if you're trying to reverse all of that, if you're trying to improve your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your belief in yourself, you've got to realize that if you keep consuming this type of content, it's going to just be counterproductive. It's not going to help you progress. It's not. So how can you stay focused on your progress towards your goals? The biggest, easiest, and honestly the most fun thing you can do is create a vision board. I know I've been talking about vision boards a lot of late, but I can't tell you the power in these boards. If you can, because you're training your brain, that's what you're doing. All you're doing is training your brain through these images, and you're putting images on there that are about you, your life, your wants, everything positive. No one puts on their vision board, I want to continue hating myself. I want to continue having a big nose. I want to continue. No one puts anything negative on there. I don't know where the nose analogy just came from, but like no one puts things on their vision board that is negative. You only put positive things on there. So why don't you do one? What's stopping you from putting something together? Usually what's stopping people from putting a vision board together is fear that they're not going to be able to achieve what they're putting on the vision board. That in itself, my loves, is the biggest mistake. That is the biggest reason why you should create a vision board, especially when you think you can't achieve something on there. Put it on there. Put it on there, and trust me, put it on there. Then you do the work on your self-belief. The other thing to do is affirmations. I recommend doing it on post-its because it's the easiest thing, the easiest way of doing it. And you write the affirmations yourself. You can use other people's affirmations. If there's like a quote that really speaks to you, that you get, it's in your kind of language that translates, go for it. Use that quote and put it around your house, put it around your desk, put it everywhere that you are. Okay? It's your home. It's your desk space. You can do whatever you want to do. You're contributing to your own mental well-being by doing this, and put them around anything you want to improve in your life, and just look at them. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is look at them and read them. Take them a step further to put purpose into that. So if you're working towards maybe losing weight, then when you put an affirmation up, it's the affirmation on the fridge is, I choose to eat healthily. And you could then put an addendum because your purpose is to live a long life, or to get into a dress or something. Whatever it is that is your purpose for that particular goal, pop that on there as well. It reinforces the message of the affirmation and not just be words, okay? And when you're reading, don't just skim read. we're this whole instant gratification of our society, and short, sharp messages is a great idea in theory, but what it does is, because we've got 60,000 thoughts a day, you are just filtering. You're really not taking anything in. So when you read your affirmation, stop and read it word for word. Another thing I talked about, I don't know if it was in a blog post or with some coaching clients, but surround yourself with the right people. Oh, I can't stress this enough. People talk about energy exchange. I've talked about energy exchange. We talk about energy vampires. We talk about people who lift you up, being around like-minded people. There is something very much in that. In the last month, I've spent more time talking to other business owners, and just by speaking to other business owners, I feel so much better about my business. Now, I didn't necessarily have any fears about my business because I was taking a slight change in direction. I didn't have any fears as such. It was more, I just want to be committed to this. And that was just it for me, really. But some of the things that irk me about social media and how people sell on social media, I was able to talk to other entrepreneurs about it. And it's not everybody. Not everybody is my cup of tea, and vice versa. You have to kind of seek these people out. And when you do, oh my goodness, you can have these incredible connections. That's business related, but this also applies to friendships. It doesn't mean that your 20-year-old friendship is the friendship that you're going to have now for the next 20 years. It doesn't have to be. If you feel like that person doesn't add value to your life, then stop spending time with them. Stop looking at their social media profile, kids. That's not helping. If you have somebody who talks a good game about their life, but yet you know that they've got problems in their relationship, or they've got problems with insecurities, but yet they're bigging themselves up on social media. Come on, you're an intelligent being. They're faking it until they make it. It's the worst thing ever. You can fake it till you make it to a certain extent. Beyond that, read between the lines. It's not worth it. It's very, very unhealthy. And a couple of other thoughts. When we talk about spending time with other people, this is also our virtual others, other people that are on social media. Only see what you need to see. If you find that certain people's accounts just make you feel like rubbish, unfollow. Stop following them, block them, do what you need to do, but stop following them. You don't need to idly scroll. If you are idly scrolling, if you find yourself idly scrolling on social media just because you're bored, you're waiting for the bus, whatever it is, that is procrastination in disguise, okay? Rather than scroll aimlessly trying to look for the answers, look for the answers within you, because that's really what it is. Otherwise, you're just feeding your negative thoughts and you're going to feel worse. They are always, always going to lie within you. Now, people like me, like a coach, can guide you towards these answers. But like the saying goes, I can't make you drink. You've still got to make that choice for yourself. Now, healing is tough. So if you find yourself in this comparison cycle, it might be time to take a long, hard look at yourself and your past and start healing towards the future you're trying to create. If you find yourself in this constant comparison cycle, that you'll go onto social media and you will feel, you'll just feel so terrible afterwards. You've got to look at healing yourself or removing yourself from social media completely. Because if you don't, you are going to hurt yourself further. I want to shift gears slightly and talk about comparison when you've got a business, when you're a business owner. Something I luckily have been able to talk to with like-minded colleagues, people that I'm now spending time with, is the sheer amount of businesses that have been created during lockdown, which is wonderful in one sense and dangerous in another, because people have gone into fear thinking that the workplace is now defunct and it has changed completely and everything's going to be online. But in the same way that the workplace might be stagnating right now, the physical workplace, it's not completely, because we still use shops, we still go to restaurants, we still go to gyms, we still buy stuff. So in the physical, we're not there yet. We're not there yet to be online only. And God help us, I really hope we never get to online only. To remove human interaction is to remove the humanness of our beings. It really is. So, digress there slightly, but so the thing that I'm seeing a lot at the moment are too many gurus. One, I hate people using the word guru. You are not a guru, okay? A guru comes from my culture, Indian culture, and it means something very, very deep. You are not a guru. Secondly, experts. People calling themselves experts after having a business for 3 months. You're not an expert, babe. You can sell something. That doesn't make you an expert. Coaches. Oh, the amount of coaches that are online right now. Everybody is a teacher. Everybody is a life coach. I just can't with it. It's just, As somebody who has trained in coaching, as somebody who has done counseling courses, real courses, by the way, not 2-day courses, I have to stress to you from an ethical perspective, please be mindful of who you hire to help you with your mental well-being. You really need to be careful. Even if you're goal setting and things like that, be mindful of who you hire. Check their safeguarding process, because even if you're working towards a business goal, your personal life's going to come into it at some point. There is going to be something about you that is limiting your progress, and a properly trained coach will be able to unpick that, unravel it, and work you through it. An untrained coach will not, and then they're essentially going to just give you unsolicited advice, which is also not coaching. Coaching is not advice. So be very careful, because I think that's also what bothers me when people call themselves a coach, but a coach is somebody who supports and guides. It's not somebody who tells you what to do. That's a mentor. Very different. So yes, when you are in the social media space as a business or a new business, and you find yourself coming across all of these sorts of experts and coaches, do your due diligence. Do your due diligence, research, read about them, find out what they're really about, make that call before you buy. Don't waste money on things that you don't know if they're going to work. So that's my bit there. The second thing, if you're a business and you're looking at other people's social media profiles and they're telling you to do this thing this way. So this is the best way to get sales. This is the best way to market yourself. This is the way to brand yourself. If you try it and something doesn't feel right, honestly, that means you shouldn't be doing it. It's something in your gut, in your intuition that is not aligned with that particular process. You shouldn't be doing it. Now, that could mean one of two things. One, it doesn't sit with your business model. Or two, it's something out of your zone of genius. And if it's out of your zone of genius, delegate it to somebody who can do it. Now, I'd like to labour a point, actually, that unless you've got the thousands of pounds and labour resources to set up your business, if you're just a one-man band, it's going to take you longer to break even unless you have that kind of money up front. Because I see so many business owners thinking that they need to break even within a couple of months of setting up their business. And you know what? Very rarely does this actually happen. You will always put in more effort at the beginning and the rewards are reaped much later. And so many successful business owners will talk about hard work, perseverance, consistency. They're not telling you because you can't do it. They're telling you because that's what it took for them to achieve what they've achieved. Coming back to instant gratification in our society, instant gratification is just that, instant gratification. It's not the plan for the next 5 years, 10 years, 40 years. You've got to think bigger than just getting the next buck to pay your rent. Even with money behind you, it's still going to take time to gain the money back and move into profit. So be careful when you're looking at social media and people's journeys on there. One, fake it till you make it is very real. And two, understanding that business does take a minute, longer than a minute, to actually get you to where you want to be. And it takes a lot of tenacity, a lot of determination, but you can do it. It's just a case of being mindful that it takes time to do it, rather than, oh, well, she said she only set up her business last year, November, and now she is in 6-figure months. Well, go on Company's House and check if she is. Look, social media has its place. I think it's a wonderful tool for business. I think it's a wonderful way of connecting with community and people, especially right now. But being more mindful about how much time you spend on social media, what you consume, why you're there, is going to be such a game changer in terms of the negative self-talk and your self-esteem. It's going to build your self-esteem because you'll have control over what you're consuming. You know, you're not going to watch something on TV that you don't want to watch. It's the same with social media. You should only see what you want to see. If you want to build your self-esteem, only follow positive people. If you want to look and feel better, only follow people that make you feel better. Thank you for listening to the Self-Care 101 podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you would subscribe, rate and review so that other people like you can find the show. For more tips and tricks, you can follow me on the socials at Frankly Coaching, or visit my website to find out more about my coaching programs and how to work with me at franklycoaching.com. Talk to you soon.